Alright, what is up YouTube? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, as you can clearly tell from the background, it's way different. We're not outside, we're in the room. A few things before we get started with this video. Obviously you guys know what this video is. I'm showing you guys how to tackle prep again. But before we do that, two things I want to mention. First thing, merch is currently live. There's this shirt right here that you see I have on. You already would have known this from Tuesday's video, but I'm just gonna go a little bit more in depth on it. Merch live. This is the Bento Hunters one. Let me stand up, don't mind me, I'm sitting on a bin. That's the back of it. Hopefully y'all can see. Hopefully it looks good. Second, sitting on a bin. Okay, second off is the other one. Spread them and get them. Cleanest design out there. There's three different type of shirts. There's the one that I have on currently, the long sleeve dry fit. There's a long sleeve dry fit like this with a hoodie, and then there's a long sleeve jacket, like a regular cotton jacket thing. Jacket, sweater. It's a sweater, not a jacket. Jackets have a zipper, sweaters don't. It's a sweater. As of getting them right now, currently, only way if you do not have Instagram is to put it in the comment section of this video, and I will reach out to you guys via, I'll text you guys either to probably email me, because I don't want to give my phone number out. We'll see how that works. But if you do have an Instagram, I'll put it on the screen right now. Hit me up on Instagram and we can work for there. So that's the merch thing. If you guys like it, go cop. Help a brother out. I appreciate each and every one of you that support us. Second thing, giveaway is currently gonna be live. Hopefully I would have announced it. It's gonna be up on Instagram. Sorry, I'm a blabber, but you would have seen it. It's on Instagram. But for all the people that don't have an Instagram, like I said, and you just watch me on YouTube, giveaway will be this reel. It's brand new. I'll show you right now. I did open it obviously to take pictures of it, but it's a brand new Torium 50 HG crispy clinger, and one of you lucky people will get it. So rules on how to enter that will be posted on, it'll be posted on my channel as a regular post, so look out for that. And this will be giving away this reel and this shirt. Well, a shirt like this. You can pick between this design or the design I have on, and then obviously your shirt size. So yeah, that's the two announcements I have to make: the giveaway and the merch. Again, hope you guys enjoy it. Hope you guys are stoked for that giveaway, stoked for the merch, because I am super stoked. And now let's jump straight into this video. So today I'm gonna be showing y'all how to tie a slide bait rig and a regular Baitcast rig for Ulua fishing. If you don't know what that is, or don't know the difference, a Baitcast rig pretty much means you put a piece of cut bait on a hook and you throw it out there with a lead and a swivel, yada yada yada. Slide bait, you throw your lead out first, you anchor that, and then you take a slide swivel and you hook it on your line and you slide a live bait down. Usually we do that to get a lot bigger baits out farther, because it's a lot harder to cast like a 1 pound bait versus if you just slide it down a line. So I'll kind of go and talk about it a little bit more as I go along. Again, I'm not the most educated person, but I do know some stuff that I can pass on to y'all. So let's start with the Baitcast setup first. So I'll move this tackle box to the side because I don't need this tackle box right now. We need this thing. If you're new to this channel and you don't know what this is, or if you've been here, you know exactly what this is. This is a rig binder from HFG, High Fish Gear. Those guys are super cool, legends. But this binder pretty much holds all my rigs in it when I pre-tie everything. It's just that. So with that being said, we'll come in here, we'll grab this 100-pound test, we'll grab this, which is a hook, and I currently don't got swivels. What do you know? Hold on, Deborah, we just gotta grab one out of his bin. Alrighty, so swivel. We have a swivel. This is literally all you need to do to set up a dunking rig. That. Just saw one anyway. And this. Alright, so set it up. You need a swivel, a hook of your choice, leader line, a lead. You also need a lead line, but I don't have any upstairs. They're all downstairs in the other bin. So we'll just use this piece of line that I have just sitting in my bag. Alright, so to tie this rig, first I start off with the leader, which is, again, this is a 100-pound test. Depending on what you're gonna be doing, like in terms of what fish you're targeting, what kind of bait you'll be using, will determine what size leader you use, also what size hook you use. For my applications, I don't ever go under 100. Sometimes I'll go to 150, but for the most part, 100 is where I stay at. All around use when I switch between this hook and the other hook, this one. So this is a size 30 and this is a size 24. So this is usually what I'll throw during the day when if I'm gonna bait cast during the day, or if it's earlier in the day, I'll throw a little bit smaller hook, which is a 24. Still big enough to where if a good sized fish comes by, I have a good chance of landing them, but still small enough to where that 1 pound to 2 pound pupillos can grab it, just so that we can have a little fun. This is what I mainly throw at night. This is a size 30. This hook is all around one of the best hooks that I've used. This thing is very deadly, very sharp, and very, very, very strong. I have landed big rays with this thing. I've landed sharks with this thing. I've landed uluas with this thing. I've landed rocks with this thing. Anything you can imagine, I've landed them with these hooks. They are kind of pricey, but again, you pay for quality. It's a really good hook, really sharp hook, and it doesn't rust, and it stays sharp for a while, unlike these things. So application also determines what hook you're going to use, again, and leader. But like I said, for me, I always use 100 because pretty much I fish mainly at night. I very rarely fish during the day, and when I do fish during the day, it's usually around like 3 o'clock, so it's still kind of in the afternoon time. So yeah, take this. I'm gonna try my best here. All right, everybody, bear with me. I'm gonna try my best to show you how to do this, but I'm very bad at explaining things. So take this, you kind of bend it in half. See, now you got like a U, a big U, or it's actually a V, and you take the hook and you put it. I'm gonna turn the camera. Hold on. We'll face the camera down for this portion. So you make your loop, right? Then you put the hook behind the loop like this. So it's the hook's behind that. Now you squeeze everything together like this. All right, you with me? So it's behind the loop, squeeze it together, and you pinch everything. And now you're left with this. You're left with the other end of that U that you have. So you have that loop in the back of your finger, and you have the other two pieces on the front. You take the tag in, doesn't matter which side it's coming from. You take the tag in and you wrap it around the hook. 1, 2, and 3. You can go 3 or 4. You wrap it around the hook, and you want to make sure your wraps are kind of like on top of each other. I mean, like in a line. Let me try tap the camera there, kind of. So you want to make sure they're kind of in a line to where they're not overlapping or going to get tangled when you do this part. And now you take your finger, so all those loops that you just made, you take your finger, thumb, and your pointer finger, and you squeeze that, and you let go of the back. You see how this loop kind of just unfolded? That's fine. Take your tag in, and you stick it through this loop that we just made. And you hold the tag in, and you pull this your leader line, and it's going to close. So, see that? And now you would put a little bit of spit and tighten it. But for video purposes, poke myself. We're going to do that not again. So you untangle it. Straighten this out. So again, make your loop. Put it behind the hook. Squeeze the bottom. Hold everything together. Take your tag in. You wrap it 1, 2, 3, this case I can do 4 because the tag end's a little longer. 4. All that loops you just made, you squeeze that tight, you let go of the back, you take this, and you go right into the tag end. So you see how it's laying like one side's under the hook and one side's above the hook? I take the tag end and I go over the hook. Don't go under it, go over the hook and go into the loop. See that? So your tag ends are here. You go over and into the loop. And now you hold the tag in and you slowly, you just guide the loop with your finger so it doesn't untangle, and you pull. Okay, now here you wet it and you pull very tightly. So you also want to get a pliers or something. I recommend using your teeth. But you take a pliers, you grab the tag end and you pull until you're left with this right here. And that knot, I promise you, won't fail. That's the knot I've been using for a while. I'll continue to use. And as for the leader, just give it like 10 to 12 inches. And you cut it. This is a very crucial part because I always forget this. So as you all can see, right, the line is not through the eye of the hook. So just always remember, after you cut it, before you put your swivel on, you put the line through the eye of the hook. And you just pull it through. And now your hook sits like this. Alright? The reason why I go through the back, I know some people go through the front, whatever. But this is just my reasoning on why I go through the back. So your hook sits like that with your bait. When the fish bites it and you pull, now you see how this is obviously a circle hook, so it naturally sets itself. But you see how no matter what it pulls, the hook always tends to roll back into itself. So if a fish bites it and you pull, now the hook's gonna just roll right into the side of his jaw. And I promise you, this knot right here, just like this, produces results, and it's solid. So now take your swivel and you go through the eye. See the swivel's on there? Through the eye of the swivel. You come like this. You pinch down here where the swivel is. Pinch the eye of the swivel. You take this, your tag end, and you fold it. Right? You fold it over like that. See? Sometimes it might need more slack. So you take it, you fold it over. So you kind of just make a circle with your tag end, and you bring the leader end to the top of that circle. So don't mind the chickens outside. They're chasing each other like this. Alright? So I'm going to do it again. Tag end's right here. You fold it, bring it over the top of your leader. You make like a circle. Okay? Now you take the tag end and you go in this loop. You wrap the leader and the tag end, and you wrap both of them. You go 1. See that? You wrap both of them just like that. You go 1, 2, and 3. No, wait. Sorry guys, the leader's too short. So you take it, you go 1, 2, and 3. And now you just right here, you kind of pull it. You see how you got that? You wet it so it doesn't burn the line. And you just pull. You pull both that and the tag end at the same time. It's a lot easier to do when I'm not trying to film. And now you just pull the tag in. Take your pliers. And you kind of put the tag in. You pull that just like that. And now you're left with that. That setup right there. That actually came out shorter than normal, but that's fine. You can still use it like that. So now you just cut off your tag ends. And don't throw this on the ground. Make sure we dispose of that properly. Take care of Diana, take care of you. Alright, now you're left with this. Okay? So from here, and this is gonna be a topic. Why do you use two-way crane swivels or over three-way swivels? If you take a really good look at three-way swivels, I would show you, but I don't have any. They're just a bunch of little rings, kind of, how would you say this? Kind of like riveted onto a big circle. So I've had those swivels, a lot of times break and just fail. I have yet to break one of these, so that's the reason why I use this, and it just looks a lot cleaner. Now for the lead portion, you take your lead line. Obviously, like I said, this is just a piece of rubbish line that was in my bin. But you take a piece of lead line, right? You just cut off a piece, and you would fold it in half. It's gonna be a lot harder to do, being that this line's all crumply. It's gonna be a lot harder to see, but tag ends up here, your main line's here. You take it, you pinch it right here, and now you say you have a loop on this side, right? You wrap it around your two fingers, just like this. See what I'm doing? You just kind of split it in half, wrap it around your two fingers, and then you create a loop with the two lines together. Create a loop, wrap around your two fingers, create a loop, and you take this side, the loop side, and you go through that loop. You go 1 and 2, and now you pull everything tight, and now you're left with this thing. You're left with a loop that's literally just closed. Cut off your tag end. Don't mind my scissors, they've been through a lot, they've been through war. And now you're left with this loop right here. And now you take your lead, right? Once you fold the loop in half again. See, you just have a circle, fold it, pinch it, stick it through the eye of this lead. And now you take the other side and put it through like this. And do that again, see? Stick it through the eye of the lead. You take the knot side and you go through that loop like this. You see how it's through the loop, and just pull it tight. Now you're left with that. Alright, now from there, I put it on this side. Some people put it on this side, but I just put it on this because it looks a lot cleaner. You take the other side of your swivel, and you take the other side of your loop that's for your lead. You do the same thing you did for the lead. You put it through, and in this case it's too short for me to wrap the lead, so what I do is I just pull it through, open it, take the swivel, take the hook, you put the hook through it, right, and you pull it tight, and now look, it's on the swivel. Alright, so now you're left with this. You got your hook, your leader, 100-pound test, 50-pound test, whatever you decide to use, to a crane swivel, and a 7-ounce lead. Now from here, again, like I said, it's all personal preference. From here, you would tie your main line. Just grab a reel from behind me. So this would be your main line coming off your pole. Alright, now you would take your main line coming off your pole, and you either tie it to this one like this, and you would have this hanging off of it like this. So your main line's up here, or you can do it like this. This is how my dad ties his. You can take it and tie it to this one, right? And now it's like this. So it don't matter what eye of the swivel you pick. That's all just personal preference. But just pick one. Like I said, I tie it to this one. So you take it, you do the same knot that I showed you how you tie the swivel. You take it, put it through the loop, fold the tag in over the main line and the tag, and you just go 1, 2, 3 times through the loop, pull it tight, tighten everything, and now you're left with this. And that right there just needs a piece of bait, and you're ready to kill some Uluas. So that is how I set up my bait casting rig. I know some people make their lead line longer than their hook line. I'll show you how to do that. Let's cut off this. because it's not a big deal to do it. This. So to do that one, if you want to make your lead line longer than your hook line, if you're fishing for on reef, or you just want to keep your bait off the bottom. Some people, everybody's different. I personally don't ever change on my rigs, but some people are different. Some people do it differently. So you do that same knot I showed you. Now you have a piece of line. You take the tag in, you fold it in half, create a loop like this, wrap it around your fingers, then you stick it through that other loop. 1, 2, pull it. You're left with that. Now you take this, squeeze it, stick it through the lead, put it around the lead, then you just pull it and it should go like this. Now this rig, it's hard to show on camera, but your lead's down here and your hook's way up here. This, a lot of people would say they use it like this on the reef, or when they're fish, they just don't want their bait in the sand or off the ground. Everybody has their own way of fishing. Like I said, only time you'll ever catch me doing this rig right here, where your lead is way back here and your hook is up here, is if I'm bait casting a small piece, like a live bait, like a hinalea or a kupipi or something. Then I'll put the lead way back here and I'll keep the hook up here. That's just so the fish can't swim in the rock. But for the most part, I keep my lead line shorter than my hook line, and that's the rig that I'll use. And if you've watched the channel for a while, you know what, this is the rig that I've used to catch a lot of fish. But that's my bait casting setup. Now let's head over to the slide baiting setup. But before we leave the bait casting setup, it don't matter what hook you use, this setup will work regardless. What bait you use, the setup will work regardless. The only thing I can recommend is I don't recommend you using, like, you have to match your leader to your hook. So if you're going to be using a big hook like this, you can go up to 200-pound leader and it'll still, the rig will work properly and it'll look properly. Versus if you're using a size 24 like this and you try and use 200-pound test leader, it'll still work, but it's just going to be a pain to tie the knot and the hook might look a little funny. It's a personal thing, it's a visual thing for me. I like to match the hook to the leader size. And so yeah, that's the bait casting setup. Now let's jump over into the sliding side. Alrighty gang, so I just have everything spread out here on the table. I'm just gonna talk a little bit about it. So here we have the two different type of slides that I know of that we use down here in Hawaii, that I use. We have the regular pigtail one-way slide. I mean two-way slides right here. These are your regular pigtails. And then you have the Australian one-way slides. This is the weighted version of this. This was gifted to me by a subscriber actually, so I appreciate you. Thank you. Super cool guy. I'm saving these for the Big Island, so that's why they still have a lot of them. There's actually in here. If you don't know this, I use two different tackle boxes. This is a slide bait, kind of heavier game tackle box, and this is my bait casting / smaller game tackle box. I'm just weird like that. I separate things. And then the slide stopper swivels. So let's get into tying these things up. Don't mind my wall. Got a bunch of random stuff on there. So in here, again, like I said, this is the rig binder. This is where you'll find all my stuff. I already tied a slide stopper, so we won't be tying one of those. I'll just explain it to you after I tie. I'll tie an Australian one-way slide, and I'll also tie in a pigtail slide. I'll take one of these off. Actually, I think, hold up. I think I have one in here that I can tie up. No, I don't. One second. Alrighty, so right here we have size 14s, I believe. They're pretty small. But still nonetheless a strong, solid hook. We're gonna be tying those on some slides. Right here, someone the other day, I was going through the comment section, someone the other day said I use a lot lighter leader compared to what most people use. That is the case in the bait casting scene, sometimes I know a lot of people use 200. I use 100. It's all personal. But I did explain to them I do use 400-pound tests right here for the slide bait occasions. So that's what we'll be doing right now. And I also just found some hooks that I didn't even know I had. So actually we'll be using these hooks instead. Right here is size 16s. These are my preferred slide bait hooks. I will use 18 occasionally, but for the most part 16 is my preferred size of hook to use. As you can tell, big difference. That's the big brother. This one will still catch fish, but this one will just guarantee you if something big comes through and ends up eating your bait, he's stuck, he ain't going anywhere. So we'll be tying up these. And with 400-pound tests, it can be a pain in the cheeks to tie, but it's still tieable. Some people say, no, you only have to crimp it. No, that's a lie. I'm showing you right now. It's still it's possible. So the same knot that I showed you with the bait casting, fold it. Well, with 400-pound tests or like even like 200-pound tests, you need to leave a little bit longer of a leader. You always see why. So you fold it, take your hook, go behind the thing, and you wrap it. This one you have to use your teeth. I'll push it down. You see how there's a loop? Watch. 2. See how there's a loop? I push it so it lays on each other. 3, 4, 5. So now you're left with all those loops. Again, you pinch the loop, let go of this, take this, you go above the hook like that, and you just pull. And now you pull everything, wet it. Take your crimper. I know these crimpers are very rusty. They're very old. These are the first crimpers I ever had. They've been in the salt water many times. And now this, I usually use my feet. And I got some dirty feet, so I'm not gonna put them on the table. But I just use my feet and I pull. I push with my feet and pull with the pliers until we can tighten it. Like I said, it is a pain in the cheeks to tie, but it is possible to tie it. And I would much rather prefer tying my hook versus crimping it, because like I did specify earlier, and I'll show you again. And slides, I tend to keep my slides short. I know people keep them long, people keep them extremely short, but I feel like, again, like 6 to 10 inches is a perfect number. You hear me say that a lot. Cut it. And remember what I said earlier. The line's not through the eye of the hook. Don't forget, take the line, put it through the eye of the hook. And again, you can see, I don't know why it's sitting like that this time. You can see how it sits. Fish bites, you pull, the hook rotates. So, fish bites it, you pull, hook rotates. So, that's why I do that. This part I will be using a crimp because you can tie the other knot. I don't even know what that is. It's a uni knot. You can also tie the uni knot, but crimping this portion is a lot easier. And I'll show you how I use crimps. Crimps. I don't even think I opened this bag of crimps yet, to be honest. Oh, I did right here. So you grab a crimp out of here. I know it's not the most educational, most down-to-earth instructional video, but I've got questions on it, so I thought I'd share with y'all. Slide your crimp on. That's just two-way, what are they called? They're double sleeves, so you can see. I'll turn the camera around. So as you all see, they're double sleeved crimps, which means one side the line can go in and the other side the line can go out. We'll tie this onto one way. You take it, you go through the swivel. This part, pay very close attention. I'm gonna show y'all. Most people don't show y'all how to do this part, but I'm gonna show y'all. You take it, you put it through the swivel, right? And you fold your tag in over. See? Look. Go through and you fold it over. Or under, it don't matter, but I always go over. You go back through the swivel. So now you're kind of like that. You're just made a fat roller coaster through the swivel. And now from here you take your tag end and you wrap it in this loop. I usually go 3 times. 2 times, sorry. 2 times with 400-pound test. And now you're left with that. And now you take your tag end and you pull it, right? So we'll show you all again. So I'm gonna untie it. You're left with this. You take tag end, go over, back into the swivel from the front. So you see how it goes out the swivel? You want to take it and just go in the same direction. Go through the front of the swivel, come out the back. Like that. Now you're left with that loop. Now you just wrap that loop twice. 1, 2. And now, right here, you kind of just pull both, and you want to pull this with this finger and this with these fingers. So you want to pull both the same time and kind of like use this fingers to kind of guide the circle down. And yeah, you just guide it down, pulling as you guide, and now you're left with that. And now you have this. You have one side sticking out, one side going this way. Take your crimp, slide your crimp. You slide the tag in the other side of the crimp. Like I said, these are double sleeve crimps, so you slide the crimp in. You slide the tag in, and now you're left with that. It might be a little blurry. Camera is bad. It's a hard time picking up on stuff, but you're left with that. Now you take your crimper. This is where I'm gonna get a lot of hate and a lot of why do you crimp like that, this and that, but this is just how I crimp it. So you see how there's those teeth in the middle? I take the crimper and I crimp in between the teeth. I put the teeth in between the sleeve because as you can see there's a groove. You can look really good. There's a groove right in the middle of the sleeve. And I take that teeth and I put it right in the groove. It's just how I was taught to crimp. I put it in the groove and I squeeze. Voila. Put it in the middle of the groove and I squeeze. Okay? Just squeeze a little bit. And now you kind of flatten it like that, right? And now you take, trying to open this crimp one hand is hard. You take your crimp and now you can actually crimp it. So the way I do it is I leave a little bit sticking out. Show you. So I don't know how well you all can see because the camera, but I leave a little bit of sticking out and then I squeeze. And then I do the same thing on the other side. You slide the crimp down, make sure a little bit sticking out. Make sure a little bit sticking out and squeeze. And then now, if you all look really carefully, there's a little lump in the middle. No, this one doesn't really have it, but there's a little lump in the middle. I just take the crimper, put it right in the middle, and I just squeeze. Like that. And now, your crimp is crimped. And the reason why I leave a little bit on the end is, again, I don't know how well this camera will show it, but it folds out. It kind of like fans out like this. It's just so it doesn't cut the line whenever I'm fighting a fish. One of my friends that showed me how to crimp stuff and taught me how to tie this knot and stuff like that, explained it to me and then showed me how to crimp it like that and told me the reasonings why. So that's why I do that. Now you just take this, cut it off, and that right there is how you tie. Cut this in. And that right there is how you tie your slides. So another thing I do, this is a key part to this, but first, so you have your hook, crimp, obviously, that's that. Most people forget this part, or like when you're newer, no one actually tells you, but it makes a big difference. I learned this from a friend that actually passed away, so thanks bro for teaching me that. But this right here, you see how it's straight, right? So when you put your line on here, or we'll use this. We'll use this right here. We'll take this off. So this actually clips onto your main line. Say this is your main line coming off your pole, right? We'll put this down here as a reference. This is your main line coming off your pole, and you've already casted it out. Actually, I'm getting off topic. Let's show you guys the stopper part. Sorry, that was very random, but before we explain this, we'll show you the stopper part and then we'll explain that. So, only saying that because I won't be tying one. Obviously, like I said, I have a lot tied. and I just want to kind of show you all this part of it. Sorry, I know that was very random and off topic, but you take this, right, your stop ring, like I said earlier, this thing that's in this bag, stop rings. So you take one out and you tie that same knot that we did with the crimp and all that. But for this side, instead of cutting this part, I leave it long. It's just a personal thing. I leave it long so that the stopper gets, the slide gets stopped up here. Also, you can make this as long as you want. I usually just make it like 3 feet. But you can make this as long as you want. So then you do the same exact thing on the other side, but you put a crane swivel. Okay, and I know I'm about to get backlash in the comments for this, but it's because I don't trust myself tying an Albright to, like, there's a bunch of knots you can splice and tie, and I don't slide that often, so I can't leave leaders on my reels, and all my reels I do use for Baitcast and slide. It's the same reel. I don't have different reels. It's just a lot easier for me to put a swivel up here, and I can tie my main line straight to that instead of having to splice everything in every time I decide I want to slide or something. So, swivel, same knot, and you do the same thing. You leave the tagging long, and then you're left with this. Alright? Now, this part of your swivel will go to your main line, like I just specified, right? Your line comes off your pole, right here. Comes off your pole after you put it through the eyes, and then you tie this onto here, and now you're left with this, right? And down here, you tie your lead line. I tie it to the ring of this swivel, not to this. This is a personal thing. I tie it to here. And then you have your lead off of there. You usually use a wire lead, and you cast that out. You cast just this right here, stopper, swivel, couple feet. Like a couple feet, like not like a foot or two of your lead line to your lead, and you just cast that out, and you anchor that. So there'll be no bait. You just anchor that, and then now, what we'll do is you would have tied this, right? You would have had this tied, made up, and ready to go. Now, here's where we're going to talk about it. So, you see how it's straight? So, if I was to put this on my pole, right? Well, that's not going to work. I'll put it on this one. If I was to put this on my pole, I don't know the best way to explain it, so I'm going to explain this the best I can. Someone explained it to me some years ago, and it stuck with me. But the reason why they call it an Aussie one-way slide is because when the current pushes back, it can't go back, as you can see, but it can go forward. So here's the thing with that, though, is when you're trying to get it down the line, you're kind of working it in a way. Let me put this down. Let me put this on here. You're kind of working it in a way so when you shake the pole, it's moving like this, right? But if your stuff is stuck straight, if your wire is straight and you're trying to work it, it's gonna move, but very slowly. So what my friend taught me is you take your crimper and you go over here and you bend it. You bend it, so you see how, but just remember, just don't bend it backwards. You see how this part goes on your pole, right? So you take your crimper, you go right here, and you bend down away from that. That's actually, wait, hold up. So now you put just a little bend. It doesn't have to be much, just a little bend. But what that does is that helps with, put this back on. So now when it's on the line, right, and you shake it, you see how it sits a lot different than compared to it. Now that slide naturally just wants to flow downward at an angle, versus if it's like this, it kind of just wants to sit like this on the line. It doesn't really want to move. There's a lot more detail to reasonings why we do it like this. Again, I'm not the best at explaining it. I just know that it works when you do it like this, and I'm just showing y'all what I know from personal experience and what works. But don't forget to bend it. And yeah, that's that. So, where the hell did I do with the thing? Slide bait. Overview. Slide. I have no idea what that knot's called. To a crimp. To, again, don't have no idea what that knot's called. I just tie it to your hook. And then you have same thing. Stopper, knot, crimp, leader, crimp, knot, crane circle. A lot more complicated than that, but that's just a brief overview of what I know, what I've been doing, and what works for me. So everybody's different. Again, I just thought I'd share my way of doing things, because some people are genuinely curious about it. You know, maybe there's something I'm doing that you weren't doing. Maybe hopefully this can help you, but for the most part, that's it. That's all I do. It's nothing special, nothing crazy. No secret techniques here, no secrets here. I'm one very lucky person when it comes to Ulua fishing, and I do get lucky a fair few bit of times. So hope you all enjoyed that video. Again, don't forget, the merch is live. The giveaway should be live soon. I appreciate each and every one of y'all for sticking around and supporting the channel and supporting the dream. Until the next video, I love all y'all. Until the next one, shoot.